Hi everyone. So today I'm gonna walk you through how to use CanGen and CanDump, which are two super useful applications within the CanUtilities or the CanUtils package in Linux. In a previous video, I showed how to install or set up your vCan interface, and on this video, we're going to use that vCan interface, that virtual CAN interface, to play around with CanGen and CanDump. So let's get to it. So as in the previous video, I had two panes using Tmux. So I'll be switching between these two. So the first thing that I want to show you is that I have vCan 0 running. It's up and running. I already set that up. And the first thing that we're gonna run is on this pane. We're gonna run CanGen vCan 0, and then we're gonna add a -v. And what this will do, as you'll see, is it'll generate random messages. So let me pause this. So I'm hitting Control C. It's generating random messages with random CAN IDs and then random payload and different lengths. If I continue running this, I'll be able to see what's running here. And if, for example, if I run something like this, so it's doing the same thing, but it's not verbose. And here, if I do CanDump vCan 0, I can actually see what's happening. So let's stop this, the broadcasting of CanGen. So vCan 0 or CanDump on this pane is still running, but because there are no packets that are being broadcasted, that's why it's not showing anything. So let me clear this and let me run a slightly modified version of this. So instead of /v, I'm going to do -g, and I'm going to put in 10 milliseconds. So G is the gap in between messages. So instead of running every second, now it'll send messages every 10 milliseconds. So you can see how now on CanDump it's running a lot faster. The next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to still use CanGen, but I'm going to use it a slightly different way. The way I'm going to use it is I'm going to generate CAN messages of the same CAN ID, but just incrementing the payload. So this is the command. So it's CanGen vCan 0, which is the CAN interface, a gap of 10 milliseconds. So it'll send messages every 10 milliseconds. The CAN ID is 7E8 in hex. The length of the message is going to be 8 bytes. And then the data is going to increment by 1. So this verbose, I'm going to actually delete it because we'll be able to see whatever we generate on this side. So let me go ahead and generate that. And as you can see, it's increasing. The CAN IDs are still the same, but it's going up by 1 on the payload. And you're probably wondering, why is this useful? Why do I want to generate CAN messages this way? It's actually super useful when you're trying to do some reverse engineering and trying to figure out which CAN messages are actually doing something. So you can constrain the way CanGen works. So another use case for CanGen is, first let me stop this. So another use case for CanGen is actually to send periodic messages. So if you already know what message you want to send, so for example, you don't want to increment the data portion, so -d increment, you want to use -d and let's say 0.2, and instead of every 10 milliseconds, we're going to send it every second, so every 1,000 milliseconds. So this will send, if you look on the left pane, you'll see that now we're sending every 10 milliseconds, and we're just sending the same message over and over again. And I can also make it run faster every 10 milliseconds. And if we add the V, we can see it's going pretty fast. The last thing that I want to show is how to record CAN traffic so that you can replay it later. So let me clear this. So we're gonna first start generating just random CAN messages every 10 milliseconds. And on this side, I'm gonna actually do CAN dump vcan 0 and then -L. And what that -L does is it'll save it onto a log file, and we'll be able to inspect what the log file looks like. So if I hit enter, it's actually saving all of this data to a log file, and I can stop it now because we probably have enough data. I'm actually going to stop this one as well. And if we kind of peek into this file, I ran a few others. There we go. So you can see that it saved each CAN message with a timestamp. And one of the cool things about this is that if you use a different CAN utils called CAN Player, you can actually replay this exact file. So if we do CAN Player, let me check. I think it was right. So CAN Player and I think it was CAN dump. I think it was this one. Right, so it's replaying. So on this side now we're actually gonna just look at what the output is. And it's actually, well, there it stopped. So if I restart it again, it's playing it again. And the cool thing about CAN Player as well is that you can actually have it run multiple times. If you do -L and I think it's I, it'll just run infinitely. So it's kind of a nice way to record data from a vehicle, for example, and be able to kind of run it continuously. I'll show you, if I don't use the -Li, it'll just run all of the recorded data, and then it'll stop when it's done. Cool, so I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, subscribe so I can post new videos, and give me a like just to get some feedback on whether I should keep doing them or change the content of the videos. Thanks, and I'll see you around.